Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mthethwa, and if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. So it's 2020, you're looking for a job, you don't know where to start. This video is for you. So today I have an amazing friend, someone who's doing amazing things regarding unemployment and also helping you guys find the right job for you. So she's gonna tell us more about herself. So welcome to my channel, Sissy. You are my first guest, so thank you very much for availing yourself. Thank you very much for taking time just to sit down with us, talk to us about this issue that is affecting us in South Africa. As you know, our unemployment rate is like skyrocketing. So I think with this video we're trying to make sure that we help whoever is looking for that a chance to fix her life or to get a job or to maybe upgrade. Some people are also looking at changing their careers, like to change career completely. So how can you go about doing it? So can you please maybe tell us more about yourself, your experience, what you're doing and your company, so that our viewers can get to know you.
No problem. So thank you, I'm honored. It's actually my first YouTube thing. So it's my first YouTube interview. But anyway, so my name is Sikhokele, Mdedetyana-Solicited. So I've been in the recruitment space or industry now for the last 8 years. And I just started my own company called Solicited Consulting. It's basically a consultancy with 3 main streams at the moment. One being the recruitment aspect of things, specialist recruitment firm with different specialists who specialize in different industries, IT, finance, industrial engineering, supply chain, logistics. So with different people that are hitting different spaces within it. And then the second part of it is the NPO that actually just helps people that are earning less than 5,000 Rand, more so from the townships, in terms of how to helping them type out their CVs, basic interview preps, and helping them set up their profiles on the different portals. And the third aspect of it that we're still working on is like a work readiness program for graduates. Amazing. So that's the company, or my company rather. Yeah, and I think I've been in the recruitment space obviously for 8 years, as mentioned. So I'm hoping that I can add value to some of the questions and I can help a few people. I have previously got experience assisting people on finding jobs that have just been recent grads. We've done projects with my previous company called Not Every Hero Wears a Cape. So we have actually had good success in helping people with basic skills and knowledge on how to get the next opportunity.
Wow, that's amazing. So now let's say I'm sitting at home, I want to start looking for a job.
Yes.
I don't know where to start. So what should I do? Like the first thing that I should do, like right now, I want to start looking for a job. Where do I do? Where do I go, or where do I start?
Okay, I think the first thing that you want to do, it doesn't matter who you are and what level you're at, whether or not you're at a learnership stage where you've just got a matric, you've got your degree, or whether or not you're a skilled or experienced individual. It all starts with you. So you need to firstly look at what skills you have at the moment and what value can they add to an organization or to corporate. So at the moment, we're in a space where there are the haves, which is corporate in terms of the country at the moment is where the money actually is. And then we have the have-nots, which are the people of the country that are struggling financially and otherwise, more so now with the COVID experience. So I think the key thing that you want to do first is look at where you are and what skills can you offer. I.e., if you were in matric, you want to look at what have I done in the last 12 years of school that would be valuable for an organization. Not only what have I done, but who am I and what do I like to do. So if in class you are the person who's good at writing notes and you put your hands up when the group is doing presentations and projects, and when you're the person who's writing down everything and you're the one that puts it together and sends it to people, if it's something you enjoy, maybe you need to look at those type of learnerships, administrative learnerships. If you're someone who's just gotten your degree in marketing and the part that you like in marketing is the research, you want to look at the companies that do market research for marketing companies. Remember, companies buy data. So ShopRite, for them to know where to advertise, or DSTV, they kind of have companies right now that do just about everything for everyone in order for the bigger party to work out, i.e. the companies we already know. So what you want to do is you want to know where you fall in. Do you fall into the companies or the skills or whatever it is you want to do? Does it fall into the companies? Do you want to be a Standard Bank? Do you want to be a company that's subcontracting to Standard Bank? Or do you want to be consulting to Standard Bank, or there's different ways. You want to learn how to one day code at Standard Bank. So you need to first look at that and look at your skills. If you in matric, like I said, are you good at maths? Do you like coding? Do you do software development? What do you do? Do you want to be a boiler? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be an artisan? What are the courses and what is out there? And I think before you go again and pay and spend money, you want to first see where can you get money for the skills you have now. Companies are not necessarily not employing. Companies are employing. The big gap, and the reason for my company name Solicited is because there's a very big gap in the market at the moment. Companies need the help. So solicited would mean something that is asked for. So companies need help to get
something that is
that's asked for, yes.
Okay,
so companies need, it's acquired information. So companies need skills in order for them to be able to meet their needs, in order for them to make a profit. People need jobs so that they can buy bread and a place, and have their basic income and their basic needs. So what you need to know is where you fall in,
where you fit.
Corporate is not necessarily the enemy.
It is not.
It's actually a space where you learn a lot more about yourself. I think the reason why I'm saying you start with you is because what you find is even when you do join corporate, if there's a lot of things that you're not willing to develop about yourself, you're not going to do well in corporate. Or any other space, actually, even if you start a company. Because there's things like, i.e. self-discipline. I think self-discipline is the key. Self-discipline is the key, and it's hard. It's hard for me to wake up every day at a given time, be done and start working at a given time. So what happens is when you get to corporate, you need to be at work at 7, and you can't say I use public transport. You can't say I
use the same excuse all the time.
It's unacceptable, guys. And in as much as we want to say no, I didn't have a choice, I had to take the job. The point is you took the job and you said you were going to honor what was on the contract, and it's not even really that you owe them or they owe you. It's a partnership. You agreeing contractually that you're going to work for these people and you're going to get to work at a given time,
and you're going to
and you're going to give them a service, and they're going to pay you. And so what happens is over time you get skills, and if you want to start a business, you can start a business because now you know you can trust yourself. I think that's some of the things that I've learned. I've learned that I'm resilient because I've seen myself pull through over and over and over again.
Nice.
And the same thing with most people. They'll say, I saw myself do so well for someone else.
So why not do it for myself?
100%. So it's not the enemy. There's so much more to learn in all the spaces, including government and some parastatal companies. But in reality, you need to be willing to work now and do your part.
True. So let's say now I want to start searching. So where do I go? Now I want to start searching for this job now. So I know myself, I understand what I'm good at. I've got my CV ready. Where do I look? Where do I start looking?
Love that question. So the question is, let's say for example you want to do administration. Now here you are, you want to look for a job, you go into Google, you search. So firstly, your CV. Does your CV have the skill set that are actually required in the jobs? So what you want to make sure is that your CV is readable. This is weird but easy to digest. It's not all over the place and way too descriptive. So the top of your CV is obviously your name and your surname. You can add your address and your contact number. Make sure your contact number is there. Have your date of birth or ID number there. Then you want to have
sorry to cut you there regarding the ID number. Which one is more preferable, date of birth or ID number? Because now I heard someone saying we shouldn't put our IDs there because then you see, let's say you see ends up with someone and then your ID number.
There are unfortunately a lot of fraudulent companies. So maybe you can even put in your date of birth. Yes, no, you can even put in your date of birth. And then you would have your education. So highest education first. So degree, high school, and don't add primary school. If you've got a matric, say matric. If it's an NQF level, say NQF level. I know the matric is equivalent to an NQF level, but if you know that you didn't go and pass the matric and you went to upgrade, be specific. If your qualification is not done, say incomplete, still in process.
I can put that.
You can say in process. And then some people would even put what they want to study or what they've registered for.
Okay, nice.
Especially in finance, CFAs and all these things. Yes. Screwed up all the time. Those things are important. And then you want to have your experience and skill set.
Perfect.
So it's rather than saying soft skills, project management, or skills, project management, communication, rather have projects and then say 3 months project in grade 11 where we had to build a device or a system that was going to be cheap and efficient for an Afrikaans project, this is what I did. I wrote up, I came up with the creative ideas. This speaks to who you are. Do you know who you are? Because who you are will add value. Because people want to work with people who know who they are and who are confident. Because if you're confident, it means that you're not going to think twice. And if you don't know something, you're going to ask me. As opposed to people who are too shy. Because you can't be too shy. You must give me something.
Give me something.
So I know why I'm hiring you. Yes. What am I buying into?
I like that.
So add that. If you are paying someone for your CV, please insist they give you a call as part of their service, and they actually do a brief interview where they understand your skill set. I'm telling you, even if you've got 10 years experience, I've worked with people in very senior positions whose CVs are not descriptive or properly described or defined according to where they want to go. So even if I've got, let's say, experience now in recruitment, right? And I want to be an account manager in IT. Perfect example. What skill set is necessary
for you to do that job?
100%. And I need to highlight that and how I've added value in that space. Me just typing my CV as an HR consultant is not going to be enough, because when they look at my CV, they're going to throw it out the door.
Throw it away, yes.
So you need to make sure, because what's happening is people are I'll give you my CV, you type it, there's no editing, there's no checking the information on it. There's no checking whether or not the 3-4 lines I've added, even if they'll add better words or make it look nice or sound better, you want to make sure that it matters. They've added things. It's not just what it is. The content is important. I work all the time with folk guys. Even if you're a forklifter, even if you're a pick and packer at a warehouse, it is very important that you understand that I get to work at 7 a.m. every single morning. When I get to work, I go and I check all the paperwork from yesterday. I verify all the information, all the packages that were sent. Because if you don't put that there, I don't think you've got it, so I don't call you. And I don't want to go through that, because even when I do, and I say, okay, no, he's perfect, and I call my client and I say, here's someone, they're perfect. My client gets to the interview and like, tell me, what do you do? And you just say, I pick and pack.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it is very important to give at least a brief description of what is it that you do, your experience.
And it needs to be here. The projects, the work, everything you do when you get up in the morning to go to work.
You can summarize somewhere in your CV.
And in your head. Because when you're in the interview, they're not expecting... They're not expecting to meet a special magician thing that's gonna... No, they want you, but they want you to explain what you do, so that they can match it with their business and see if it makes sense to partner with you, because they want to make money. They don't, and I think a lot of people seem to take that as a negative thing. It's not negative. Companies just want people who are going to get you and do the work.
Like you were saying earlier on, companies look at, are you gonna save what? Are you gonna save money?
So there's 3 elements that I think are key. Thank you for reminding me. There's 3 elements that are important. How have you made money? How have you saved money? How have you made the space more efficient? Now let's take it back to project work at school. How did you make sure that your team or your project was the best? How were you creative and different? How did you make sure that it was done on time? Maybe your contribution was taking the notes and drawing up a project. Doesn't matter, but the point is you need to know how you are valuable, because those are the measures of how productive you are to the next environment.
Wow, that's
and you can have one of them. You don't have to have all of them, but you need to understand how. So if you're an admin and you're in payroll, you are assisting the company by collecting by paying salaries on time. But the company's, let's say the company has a quick turnover, so they have new people all the time. You still make sure they get paid on time. So that they can work. So you make sure that people don't not come to work because they haven't been paid. That makes you a good resource to have.
Wow, that's nice.
I want to hire you because you make sure that things run smoothly in the other organization. You're more likely to do that. So pay attention to what you do. And if you go back and find that you are not efficient, don't look at the people around you as the problem, but look at how you can add value.
How can you improve yourself also?
You need to check that you're doing the same in your current role.
True.
Right now, you have a supplier that supplies paper. You in payroll. Your supplier is too expensive and they don't recycle. Who do you partner up with? A level 1 BE contributor.
Nice.
You suggest.
save money, save cost. I like that. So another question that I have, one of my followers asked me is that when you guys are looking at candidates for positions, do you look at our social media? And how do you go about doing it? Like, do you check my posts, my tweets? How do you guys go about doing it?
So a lot of companies do social media checks for different reasons and for different roles, because it obviously depends how influential the position might be.
Okay.
But for example, in my previous company, it was still entry level some of them, but we still did social media checks. But people need to understand about social media checks is you don't run them on Facebook. You don't go to Facebook and go through Zara.
Check Zara.
We have a company that we pay, that has a company that they pay, that runs the checks, and that company actually is open and makes profit from doing checks. So what do? They link up every single email address that has ever been loaded on your name, and every single social media site that's been loaded on your name, and they track what you have done on your social media. Now, if you look at it, it might seem like, oh, well, it could be anything. No. What companies expect, or how it's checked, is that you're expected to be Switzerland. You're expected to be on the wall, don't take sides on any issue. More so the sensitive issues. Political.
Like Lives Matter.
Political. Women, gender-based violence. Every single issue. And what they check is, what have you shared? What have you posted? What have you liked? What have you... And they
shared. Even if I didn't post it, just share.
What were you tagged on? If people tag you,
guys,
tags. So you need to be extremely careful, guys. Extremely, extremely careful. So they look at your risk. And based on the risk, it's not even a situation where they can come to me and say, Siko, the lady you interviewed, you like her. I'm just not sure if you still want to go forward because social media profile says risky. Remember, companies have red tapes. I'm not the only one who decides that you're getting hired. I might be the line manager, but my manager gets to approve. His manager approves, HR approves. So I could say, yes, she doesn't seem harmful. But if the other three or one of them says no, then you don't get a signature, you don't get employed. And the point is, it's anything and everything you share. There is no time for emotions at this, because they don't even check. Why did you post it? Why? When did you post it? What did you say? Anything you say, whether, let's say, for example, it's Diwali or something, and you post something that's racial, it's marked as a red cross, yes, on your name basically. And when you run the checks, your profile comes up and it'll pop up and say, this is how much of a risk you are. And an employer can decide if they want to carry on with you or not.
So guys, please be careful on what to share on social media. It might be, you might think it's harmless. It might affect your job prospects in the future. With social distancing, and most companies now are opting for video interviews, telecon interviews. What are your tips and me preparing myself to make sure that I nail this interview or I nail this video interview? Like, what are your tips in me making sure that I get the job?
One, you're looking for a job, right? Yes. So that is your job. I'm gonna summarize earlier what
okay.
So that is your job. So the first thing that's important here is your phone is on, you've got data, and you are ready to take a call. You work on your soft skills. I think people really underestimate how important it is the soft skills are. You can't pick up a phone and say you can't do that. It actually genuinely is not. To the receiving end, it says something different about who you are. In fact, it says you're not ready to work for my company, because you might not be at reception, but tomorrow I might need someone who's going to be at reception. And even if you're in finance or admin or anywhere in that matter, anyone and everyone should be ready and a company to take a role when all hands are on deck. So unfortunately, you need someone who's going to have etiquette, who's able to be presentable, who can meet with clients at any given point, even if your role doesn't require it. So you need to, number one, make sure that your phone, like I said, you've got data. You're ready to pick up calls whenever. So you can't pick up a call at 7 a.m. and say, I'm sleeping, call me at 10. I've had that happen so many times.
Oh my God.
Caller tunes are a big no-no. They're a big no-no.
I'm a man.
Go up and all of these things that people are listening to. Like, it's all good for entertainment. Like, I listen to my own things, but I will not have it as a caller tune because I don't know who's calling me next. It could be the line manager, it could be HR, it could be anyone.
Anybody.
So you need to be extremely careful.
Okay.
And then most importantly, when you are on that video call or when you are on that call, dress up head to toe. This thing that's going on social media that you can wear your pants and your pajama pants and your shirt, your shirt with your blazer. What happens if your phone falls on the floor and they see it? What happens if your background, make it clear, make sure that you are the only person that they're focusing on and that they can see.
Quiet space.
Make sure that you're not, it's not funny, it's not a joke, you actually are looking for a job. And I say that not to be mean, but trust me, I speak to a lot of people. I speak to probably over 100 people a day, between 60 and 100. But in reality, 30% of those people are usually candidates, and sometimes I'm not in the mood to actually speak to someone who is, one, not interested in taking my call because of his moods, and I'm not the only recruiter, trust me. It's just, it says that, it sends the wrong message because it says you're not ready, and it says that when I send you to my client, I can expect anything. I had a recent incident with a very young lady who sent me a CV that wasn't typed up. I assisted her in explaining what I needed, and I told her I needed the CV ASAP. I said I needed it the next day. She said to me the next day in the evening, she didn't have time, she'll send it in the morning. In the morning, she still didn't send it. Now you need to ask yourself, are you really going to send this person to your client? Because my client's going to actually ask to interview, and she's going to say she's going to go, and then she's not going to go. Because who you are is who you are now is who you're going to be. So agencies, HR, people are harsh because corporate is not an uncle that's rich with lots of money. It's a company that makes money through a service or through selling a product. And in order for them to do well in that space, they need people that are efficient, that work well in that space. So I'm not going to be able to take you to my client and you're going to mess up a big order. I mean, in any space, anyone who messes up the entire reputation or the profits of a company will be fired. So I don't want to be the one who brought you in. That's the reality.
Because also that's also damaging your reputation or your brand with that client.
Always.
You understand?
Always.
I like
and
that.
even as a friend, I won't refer you, even if I'm not getting paid for it, because it means I know you. If I know your character and this idea that let's just refer people. Refer, are you ready? Can you go? Are you going to be on time?
Can you represent me? Because when I refer you, you are also a representation of me as a person who referred you. No, you are right there. Oh, wow, okay. So there's this question that is mostly asked when you are being interviewed. Tell us about your strengths. Tell us about your weaknesses.
Yes.
Like, guys, what are you looking for when you ask us those questions? And also, lastly, what is it that I shouldn't say as a candidate when I'm being asked that question, or even if when I'm not even asked that question, what is that I shouldn't say to you guys?
Okay, let's just quickly with the strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Like I said earlier on, it sounds big and bubbly and all flowery when I say you need to know yourself, but really companies are not big bad monsters. They're companies who want to work with people who are going to help them be great. That's actually all they're in essence looking for. So if you know who you are and what you're good at, it makes it easier for them to know what to expect from you. So you don't lie. Don't complicate your life. Don't copy your friend's CV. Literally, what are you good at? Are you a proactive person? And when you say you're proactive, how do you know you're proactive? Is it because you don't wait for things to get done, you get up and do them yourself? Because, for example, this Sunday you woke up and you went to go do lunch because you saw no one else was cooking. That means that your characteristics, and you didn't feel bad about it, that's just who you are.
You are proactive. It comes easy with you.
That's your strength. It works for you because you don't wait for things to get done. If you're hungry, you get up and you make yourself a meal. You don't worry and wonder when it's going to happen next. So that's a very petty and but it's part of who you are.
And if you're the strengths also.
100%. Communication skills. If you're going to say that you're great at communicating, how? So when you worked on a project with friends, this is why you say it. And now remember, you're in an interview, so it's, you need to, it has to be honest. And it can show, and you can tell if you're being honest or not.
Oh no,
your interviewer, can tell if you're being honest or not. Yes, they can see.
So is it crucial for me to give you guys like examples or points? Let's say I'm proactive. So is it good for me to?
Very crucial.
It's crucial
because you're giving me examples of why you say you are who you are.
Okay, yeah.
And then for me, it means
examples.
This is natural because the thing about roles or jobs. I don't want you to do something you don't like. Don't come do something you don't like.
I'm forcing you to do the job.
Just because you need to eat. Come do something because naturally This is who you are.
Yeah.
And there is no job that should ever be looked down on. Because, for example, I'll use the example of picking and packing. You have a guy who actually doesn't really like to talk. He likes to work, but he's not in construction. So he just wants to, he knows he's strong. He can pick things around. So there we are at a warehouse. He's efficient and he knows that he can do this, so you go do it to become a picker and packer. It's not that difficult.
Nice.
And you just record whatever it is you'd be asked to do at that company. It's easier for you to get hired than someone who's doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yes, but also I understand when people I'm not saying it's good to lie, guys, but I also understand the desperation. You understand, you need a job, you don't know what to say, and then you go to Google and you search what is the strength. You understand? I understand why people end up lying, but now you guys are saying you can see
the point is it's not,
so don't do it, because now you guys can tell when I'm lying.
The point is it's not going to last.
It's not gonna,
even if you get the job, 6 months into it, you're going to resent your manager, you're going to resent the agency, you're going to resent someone because you put yourself in a role you know you wouldn't be comfortable in.
Yes, and then end up giving that thing, hey, it's Monday, I hate Monday. You're
going to create a toxic environment where you work. They're going to hate you, you're going to hate them.
Oh yes.
So you know your manager's not going to like you because they know you're gossiping around the office. So just don't do it. And I know we're desperate for jobs. Get help on someone who can help you. There's personality assessments on the internet. Unfortunately I'll help you, or I'll share with you some of those sites where you can just run a quick short what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then try and match yourself to things you enjoy doing. It is important that you first sit down and actually write down for yourself what your experience is, what your strengths, where your strengths and your weaknesses lie. Be honest with yourself. Mine is attention to detail. So I know that whether I'm starting a company or I'm working for a company, there's always going to be someone who checks my stuff, who edits my stuff. Because I personally have a struggle with that. I just want to get up and go. And even though I've tried to work on this weakness and it's gotten better, it's not to the level that a job that requires someone with excellent attention to detail would work. I'm not sure. I hope you caught that.
I get it.
So I know where my strengths lie. I focus on my strengths, not my weaknesses, but at least I know what they are. I watch what I've done, what I haven't done. So some of the stuff that I learned last year was that you need to also write down what your values are. Because your values mainly speak to the things that you naturally do and you're able to, get to yourself. So for me personally, again, another example would be accountability is important for me because I'm a person who plans, executes, results. That's how I see. I'm a tick. I write things down, tick, 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 get them done, and then I feel better. I want to be productive. So for me, it's a strength. So I would need to put it in a different way when I'm discussing it, but I'm someone who gets things done. So that's a strength. So because I've seen myself do it. Does it mean that I'm perfect at the execution? No. My attention to detail may be flawed. So if I'm working in the department I'm working in, I would need an HR administrator. I would need someone who checks the stuff.
I like that. Also when you check, when you're busy at drafting your CV, you can just go to Google and say strengths, weaknesses, and then you copy attention to detail. Only to find that you are not. You are not good. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. I like that very much.
The last question you asked me was what not to say.
Yes.
So the thing about employment is that it kind of is the same. I've heard that's a very thingy social whatever example, but a lot of people would say when you meet a new boyfriend, girlfriend, you want to tell them everything that was bad about the old one.
The old one, yes.
No. That gives them a reason to run. And that's why they run. Because what you do to them is what you do to me.
Yes.
So, even though you will find, for example, that the environment was toxic, I was underpaid. For example, if you left because you were underpaid and you worked very hard and they were willing to let you go, it happens. But the next employer then asks themselves, how committed are you to an environment, to getting a job? So I could offer you a salary and you could just leave. Because that's what they think when you say the things that are negative about the other employer. So find ways to put it in a very soft way. Soft means don't lie. Find a soft way of putting your reasons to leaving. There are different reasons why you leave. You're not leaving because of one reason. So out of those reasons, which reason sounds more socially acceptable?
I like that. Okay, so don't bad mouth or don't talk bad of your old employer. Do I have to always have questions?
questions show that you're interested.
Okay.
So you want to know more about the other party.
Okay.
Again, the example of going on dates. You can't get there
and not get to know
and not ask any
the
questions.
boyfriend, the new potential
person.
boyfriend. Yes.
And most importantly, I think...
I like that boyfriend example.
And I think most importantly, companies want you to work with them. You work for them, but with them. They want you to see yourself as a person that's valuable, not as a person who's owed to them or owed by them. Yeah. So when you start to ask questions around them and what they do, it shows that you want to see how this fits into your life.
Yes.
So, and I've said this a lot to a lot of candidates since I've been in recruitment. I can have all the job specs in the world and I can send you to all of them and you can get a job. Or you can actually decide what you want and I can send you to the companies that might be close to what you want, and you could give something a try that you want for yourself. Because you can't just go into a company and accept a job because it's a job. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna then it creates the whole job hopping thing that a lot of people you become a job hopper and you are not really employable. And I'll call employable because in the 6 months you keep jumping and moving jobs, what skill are you actually learning?
Getting.
Because it takes what? Is it 12 months for financial year end for each company?
Yeah, 12
so
months.
The company knows if it's made profit or not. The department, your department knows if or not your department has been a contribution. If you played a great contribution towards the profit.
Department or the company.
So, and it doesn't matter what your level is. You can't run away from this one. Even if you're in software development, 18 months. In most project cycles are 18 to 36 months. So you cannot say jumping around. It's never justifiable. No one is ever that bored. Most of the time it means that you are not tolerating or intolerant and they don't like you and it's a vice versa. So it makes you're a risk to employ. Because I'm deciding now I'm going to put 6 months of money toward your skill. 3 months of that 6 months is onboarding. I'm still teaching you some
yes, the systems, yes.
So now 6 months of onboarding you for you to leave. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna hire you.
So it also boils back to you getting to know yourself. And also there are people who are good at lying. So sometimes you lie and then you get a job. You're thinking I tricked this company. You are not tricking the company. You are disappointing yourself because now you are the one who's gonna be miserable. You are the one who's gonna say, oh God, it's Monday. I hate Mondays and then because of yourself. So lying out, guys, please be honest
and take time to develop those skills. If you really want to, for example, be in sales and you are a bullshitter,
yes,
learn where and how you can start making it work for yourself. I've seen people turn it around. I've seen people who've lied, get in there, realize, but yay, it's hot here. And then instead of jumping and running, they find a way, and literally within 6 months they're like one of the top people that are in the space. So you need to be honest with yourself, and the sooner you start changing your ways, the better. And it's not even changing your ways that you're a bad person. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have habits that don't work for where you want to go. And all you need to do is start building into the small habits. Wake up earlier, take a taxi earlier. You said you were going to be there at 8.
Be there at 8. Yes, and it all boils down to habits, guys.
Just be there. Don't honor your word. Don't. Integrity and ethics play a big part in terms of those social and characteristics that are important. They do speak for you. When you do a reference, you're not just doing a technical reference. You want to know who is this human being that's coming into my space.
Talking about habits and ethics, my next question is now, what are you guys looking at, or what plays a major role when you guys are looking at hiring me as a candidate? Do you look at my qualification? Do you look at my experience? Or do you look at my character? Like, what is it that you say, this is more important, or we look at this? Like, what do you guys look at?
So I think the all-rounder in most industries is that companies and line managers, because the hiring manager actually employs you. HR and recruitment are part of the game. But when they take your profile there, they're looking at 3 things. So it's like high school and varsity, and more so now. 30% would play into your qualification. 30% plays into your skills. 30% plays into your character. And 10% plays into your presentation. Actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So
I like that.
This is your scoring. How would you score in terms of education out of 30? Out of 10, 30% of that score. How does that look? Do you have a matric and you did extremely well in a matric but never went to varsity? Do you have a matric and you were working while you were in school? So you've got average marks. You've got average marks, but you've got amazing skills. Because you started working while you were in high school, or you started working straight after high school. So that second 30%, which speaks to skill, means your ability and your flexibility, your ability to adapt, your ability to learn. And I use those terms, even though they're soft skills, because your skills, whether you're learning Excel, PowerPoint, or how to pick up the phone, speak to the character. Your character, you learn more when you are a person who's teachable.
Yeah, guys, and also with you building your soft skills and your character, these are things you can do like at home. You don't have to go to varsity to learn those things. Those are things you can practice. So start improving yourself in those areas, so that you can be able maybe to increase your chances of getting a job or a better job. Before we go, I have another question. There are these companies that requires people to pay for them to get them jobs.
Never pay for it. So the advice I received 10 years ago was never, ever, ever pay for a job.
Never, ever, ever pay for a job.
By pay, I mean don't pay for your criminal checks. Don't pay, especially for agencies. Clients pay.
Yes,
not people.
True.
Here's the other part that a lot of people now tend to want to ask: if it's temp and the company gets paid 10 rand and I get 7 rand, what is that? That's different. That's completely different. If the company has you on my payroll, that's different. That's a different arrangement I have with them. I hire you under my payroll and I outsource your services to the client at my rate. So yes, I'm not taking advantage of you. I've heard it so many times. I'm not taking advantage of you. I have an agreement in terms of fee with them.
Okay.
I have a markup with them. Yes.
Wow, nice. Thank you very much for explaining that. And the last, I promise this is the last question.
That's okay.
So now I went to this interview. I didn't get the job. Should I ask why I didn't get the job?
It's important to follow up.
Okay.
You've applied for a job, you've gone for the first interview. A week later, send an email following up. There's a few templates on. I'm going to take you back to Google.
Okay.
There's a few templates. 2, you do need to. You've been declined. You've received an email that declines. You. Ask so you can improve. So you know where you might be going wrong. Because sometimes it's not even about you. In most instances, actually, it's never about you.
Okay.
It's because someone up was old, came back, or they've decided not to make do with the role or have the role as part of the team anymore. There's so many different reasons why a company will decide not to employ you. But I want to add one: the salary. It will cost you lots of money for you to not be employed if you are going to be extremely picky. I am not saying that go and work for peanuts.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is you need to think about it and think about it carefully. I won't tell you how much you must ask for with companies, but I've seen too many people get declined because of what now comes across to companies as being, what's the word? Yeah, you're asking for too much.
You're asking for too much.
You're entitled. Even if you had a job previously that paid you 30,000 rand, if you had no experience, you can't come to the next employer and ask them for 30,000 rand. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try. You should ask and find out, but they're not going to pay for your personal needs. Saying, well, I've got a child, and you might just be declined for someone else because you're saying I've got a child and I need school fees. They're paying you for a service, not for your personal lifestyle. And it's not personal. It really isn't. Just see it as a transaction of service. This is what I want, and have your minimum. But just be careful and ask for advice. Give a range. I am looking between. Try and always make it per annum. Don't make it per month. And that range that you give, you want to explain why. So I'm currently sitting on 350,000 rand. I'm looking for a 15 to 20% increase. I am negotiable based on this and that. Or I'm not looking for anything under 370. And so remember, guys, even now, I think the biggest thing that's happened with COVID is that it was a big awakening call for us as a country. Yes, for the entire world, but bring it back to yourself. For us as a country, a lot of our where we are right now, and everything going on in the country, corporate kind of is the only space that has some money.
Yes.
But a lot of our corporates behind, or our corporates or our companies are very much behind in terms of fourth industrial revolution.
True.
And with that being said, this has now forced them to think about how far they're going in terms of digital transformation. It's not personal. No one is trying to take over anyone. You just need to see where your skills fit in.
Yes.
I think for me, the fact that millennials are so different and so versatile and so keen on doing different things is proof that the right people were ready for fourth industrial revolution before it even, things happen perfectly. Yeah.
True.
So it's not a destroy people to get something else. No. You just need to see, because a lot of young people anyway want flexibility, anyway want to offer more than one service. A lot are already freelancers. So what you want to see is where do I fit in with all of this? Where can I fit in? Where can I add value? And what am I charging? If you know that your skill set is only a small portion of what you would have done on a daily basis, don't go and charge exuberant prices, because you're not going to get business. Go and create all those 3 different, 4, 5, you can even have 5 different services. There's virtual admin people at the moment.
Yes.
So you need to create those skill set, and then you charge according.
I like that. Wow, guys. That's it from us, guys. Thank you very much, Siko, for taking time to just talk to us and sharing such amazing information with us. I will link all the information below. Please find her details below. If you've got follow-up questions, please email her. I will leave her email below. You can connect with her on LinkedIn or Instagram. Guys, thank you very much for watching till the end of this video. And if this video was useful to you, please press that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Siko, do you want to say bye to our viewers?
Thank you, guys, and all the best with finding opportunities. You will get what's right for you.
Yes, true today.